Oh, this
And
is
yet,
huge.
yeah. And the irony of this, so people are being silent.
Oh, this
James.
is huge. Fiona, why do you think, because you are cross enough, we have spoken before, you do feel the white heat of outrage. Why do you think other people fail to feel similarly about the assault on protest?
Well, I think there's a number of things going on, and I think you've just hit on one of them, and that is the very conscious othering of groups like Just Stop Oil and Extinction Rebellion and making them out to be are we crusties or are we young people who have been
trust
manipulated?
funds, trustafarians, crusties. I mean, and that was perhaps there was an element of truth in that when Swampy was strutting his stuff. But you've got Vickers, you've got people like you've got. I mean, the Extinction Rebellion and the Just Stop Oil activists are a million miles away from the lazy tabloid stereotype.
Completely. And right now I've got a friend who's a paramedic, and he's trying to talk to the hospital authorities where he works so that he can continue with his protesting. My partner has talked to the head teacher of his school to ask if he can, what would happen to him if he got arrested.
That's interesting.
And he was told that if he got linked to the school and therefore brought the school into disrepute, that would be a disciplinary offence.
Oh, this is huge.
Yeah. And the irony of this, so people are being silent.
Oh, this is huge. So you've got a peaceful protest. Suddenly the police have got the rights to lock you up, to arrest you for making a peaceful protest. The arrest, this is the point Betty and Pickering was making, the fear of getting a record then means you're not. So you've got a teacher, an upstanding member of society who cares passionately about the environment and the future of the planet, goes on a peaceful protest, gets his collar felt by, let's say, an institutionally corrupt police force in the case of the Met, and then his own job is in jeopardy because he's brought his employer into, quotes, disrepute, end quote.
Yes. And multiply that right across the country for people who are working for the National Health and in education. Yeah. And these are the people who know the impact. Let's go back to the climate crisis.
God.
So they are passionately concerned for future generations, and they can't take the action they want to take to support those children. I've worked with children and young people all my life, and my heart is breaking for their future. And if I was teaching right now, because people have said to me, you're lucky you've retired, you haven't got that choice, Fiona. But if I was teaching, how would I go to parents' evenings, James, and talk to parents about their kids' future when I know that loads of university students who are giving up their degrees because they know they haven't got one unless we stop all new oil and gas?
I mean, you wouldn't get into trouble for doing that.
But I would. That's all I would want to talk.
No,
to
I know it is,
about.
but
you would break my heart.
And then you wouldn't even be able to carry on teaching if you'd been arrested at a protest.
I'd have to give up teaching, and we have teachers and we have students all giving up their jobs and their future plans because they know there isn't a future, and yet they are being silenced. Can I tell you the other thing as well?
Of course.
People are being arrested and released under investigation, RUI. And some of the media are saying we can't talk to you if we're released on RUI.
And that is and of course what happens then?
True.
What happens then is you revert to the stereotype. So the only people who will be able to protest are people who have opted out of society a bit, and my lazy stereotype about Swampy comes back into play, doesn't it? So in fact, what has motivated this legislation is the fact that the stereotypes have been completely exploded by reality. We see people like you, people like your partner, the retired accountants on top of trains, the vicars chaining themselves, and they can't cope with that because they look like Daily Mail readers and they're protesting against. So what the hell are we going to do? Criminalise them, and then they'll be too frightened to do it, or enough of them will be too frightened to do it. Yeah,
and we knew this was coming. I mean, you did the programme. Well, I don't know, James. Don't do yourself down. You did
I'm a Catholic.
programme
Goes
on
with the territory.
you did the programme on are we getting to a fashion? You have those definitions
I have
of
used
going
the
on,
F word. You're right.
and we hit every one of them, and we're right in the thick of it now. People too frightened and too poor and too worried about their rent, their mortgage, their food to protest.
And we're back to George's line this morning in The Guardian. The more unequal a society becomes, the more oppressive its laws must be. Must is the key word there. Must be.
Absolutely. And the other thing is when people are frightened like they are now, they're frightened. They don't want to believe this
No.
I'm hesitating for a word. This rubbish is happening to them. They want
not in
to
this
believe,
country, not here.
Yeah, exactly. So we've all been gaslit into thinking our police are great, and some of them are. Good God, I know some of them, and they're brilliant. But they're struggling with this bill because it doesn't give them the definition. They're having to make things up on the spot.
And they're arresting journalists like Charlotte Lynch. They're also struggling with the calibre of new recruits, which I was reading about this morning. Some people with really dodgy records, right up to and including criminals, still getting through the police recruitment process. I presume because Suella Braverman is desperate to make announcements about how many new police they've managed to recruit. And so that bar gets ever lowered, even in the context of all the catastrophic stories and disgusting revelations that have come out involving police services in recent months. Thank you, Fiona. I always enjoy your calls, but that one will stay with me even more than usual, because that is, of course, that's what they've done. I hadn't even thought of that.